Next, let me introduce the last speaker. Risa Hirooka from St. Paul's University will deliver the speech under the title of Open the Box of Trauma. Open the Box of Trauma. Risa Hirooka, please come up to the center of the stage.
Thank you, the Master of Ceremony, distinguished judges, all the organizers, and all the audience. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Skirts. I love wearing them. The frilly, pretty lace, the sleek, beautiful, flowy ones. Every time I put them on, I felt like a little princess. Wearing a skirt always made me feel confident until it became a part of my trauma. Approximately 2 out of 3 people undergo traumatic experiences due to natural disasters, relationships, crimes, etc. Today, for those who have bad memories that you avoid looking back on, I hope you lose your fear and resistance and know that they are resolvable. A lot of us have bad memories. And for me, it all started when I was taking a photo inside my skirt. I was just standing on the escalator at the station, thinking about nothing, when I felt something strange behind my knees. I felt something was wrong, turned around, and there, a man came out from right behind me. He was holding a smartphone with his both hands, and I suddenly realized he might have taken a photo inside my skirt. At that moment, my mind went blank, and I could only do nothing. I ran into the police station with my knees shivering, squeezed out a voice to seek help. But the 2 male police officers said, "Well, something like this happens again, just call 110. For now, we'll step up our patrols." That was all they said. I was stunned up by how they reacted. I even tried to talk to my parents, friends to get rid of this disgusting feeling. But every time they gave me advice, I felt this kind of disconnection between my suffering and how they reacted. I started to feel that my experience was not something to share and chose to keep it to myself. But every time I tried to use the escalators, the moment flashbacks into my mind. Every time I had skirts on, I could no longer go without checking behind me. The confidence I used to have wearing skirts changed into something that would make me feel insecure. However, after a year of this traumatic experience, I went to see a friend who experienced a similar situation when we were in high school. I was touched inside my skirt this morning. This was a shocking moment not only for her, but also me, and I was worried that it might have left her deeply affected. So when I met her, I asked her if she was feeling okay about the incident. But she said, "Well, I regretted doing nothing back then, but now I've got over it, so I'm fine." I was surprised. She was not traumatized, unlike me. Despite both experiencing a similar situation, I was traumatized whereas she was not. I superimposed my life with hers, hoping there'd be a key to eliminating trauma. As we were talking about the difference of both of us, I realized a cycle that is needed in overcoming trauma. That is, open, sort, and take out. Trauma therapists say that our memories are usually well organized like in files so that we can remember them whenever we want. However, traumatic experiences are left inside another box, unorganized, waiting for it to be sorted out. But we never do so because we don't even want to look back on it. As a result, we leave them as something bad to look back on, and it just flashes back unintentionally. So what we need to do to the box is to open it, sort the memory, practice taking it out. Open, sort, and take out. Today, I would like to focus on the first step, opening the box, since it is the most important and difficult step. Opening the box means accepting. We need to accept ourselves as who we are, as a person who has a bad experience. And we need one step to do so. It is to find somebody who will understand you and accept the bad memory. We need to find somebody and talk to somebody who will accept you as who you are. It may be your friend, a counselor, somebody who experienced a similar situation. For my friend, it was her mother. Her mother experienced a similar situation, allowing her to speak out and digest it. And that friend was also the one who accepted me for who I was. When I talked about my trauma to my friend, she just listened with understanding, nothing to deny. She was the one who made me realize that it was okay to tell my story to somebody else. It is important to accept the bad fact with others' support. After opening the box, we have to sort the memory, practice taking it out. But these processes can be done naturally once we open the box. Once we accept the bad memory, try to think over and over about what happened. How did you feel back then and now? Regrets, sadness, or maybe relief. After sorting them out as a memory, try to think about the future. What did you learn from that? How can you help others in the same situation? By thinking about the future, you can take a step forward in giving it a new meaning. As I was researching trauma therapy, I found a similar method of mine of open, sort, and take out called the PE treatment. It's like the same process but just done by professionals. I was convinced of the effectiveness and hoped that it would be broadly known in general through my method of open, sort, and take out. But these processes cannot be done immediately. Sometimes it needs a lot of time to speak out, as it did for me. I hope you won't force yourself to talk about it, but share when you're ready. I hope that everyone will become confident in themselves by overcoming their trauma and opening their box of trauma. The friend who experienced a similar situation like me once said to me, "I will never forgive that criminal, and if something like this would happen to me again, I would grab that guy in the hand and catch him." I couldn't help but laugh at her spirit at that time. But now, I would say, then for me, I would call 110, report them as a criminal, and never let anyone lose my confidence to wear skirts again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Risa Hirooka. Then we will have a question and answer session. Dr. Sasayama, please.
All right, Risa, thank you so much for your speech. It was quite inspiring.
Thank you.
So, to overcome a traumatic experience, it sounds like finding that somebody who you can talk to is quite important.
Yes.
So, do you have any advice or suggestions on how to find that person who can help you open the box?
So the important thing is somebody who understands you and do not deny you. And so I would suggest to find someone who experienced a similar situation so that they will understand you, or maybe a counselor. And I have also asked a counselor. It was online, Tokyo Hotto and they told me they listened to my experience. They listened to me. They understood. And they gave me advice. They introduced me some hospitals. So I would say that it is important to find somebody who experienced a similar situation or a counselor.
Okay. And in your experience, was it more helpful to talk to your friend than your counselor? And if so, why do you think it was?
It was more comfortable for me to talk to my friend because she was the one who experienced a similar situation like me, and she was also the one who knows about me but does not deny. And I knew that she would accept me for whoever I am, so that was more comfortable for me.
Okay, good. Thank you. So you said there's 3 sort of steps to overcome a traumatic experience, and you focused on the first step. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if you could elaborate on the second step a little bit more.
So to sort out means to recall, to remember what happened. So like I did in my speech, I had to recall that. I had to remember that, what happened, how I felt. And then by remembering that, it turns into a fact, an experience. It's not something unmessy, like bad thing, something that happened to me. It's like a memory. It becomes like an experience. And that is to sort out. So take out is to think about the future or help somebody with a similar situation. For me, I made a speech so that it would help so that I can make my trauma into something that I can help people with. And that is to take out. So by maybe finding someone who experienced a similar situation, giving them advice if they're already to talk about it, then that would become helpful.
All right, thank you. So do you think this open sort takeout technique, do you think we can use it independently even if we didn't have anybody to talk to? Or is, that somebody to talk to, is that necessary?
I think it's necessary because we need somebody who eases your loneliness in those steps. We need to feel that we're understood, that we're not alone, and then we can accept the fact. So if you don't have anybody, you can use the online counselors that I talked about, or find somebody on the internet because there's a lot of people who can meet or interact with. So that would be one method, yes.
Okay, thank you. Maybe one last question. So your approach to sort of overcoming traumatic experience seems quite systematic and effective. So I wonder if you have used a similar technique to overcome some, similar other challenges in your life or beyond trauma.
Other? This open sort takeout? Other? Well, yes, but maybe on speeches. I've been on many competitions actually, and I've said some judges gave me terrible comments, and but I used to avoid looking back on it. But when I have time, when some period. When I feel that I'm confident in comfortable looking back on, I try to look back on it and sort them and then try to improve my speech. So maybe this process is done by my speeches.
All right, good answer. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sasayama. Mr. Confer, please.
Thank you very much for sharing that experience and the growth. I appreciate the courage it took to talk about that to us today. I want to focus on a couple of things, and you alluded to online therapy. I'm going to ask you a very odd question. AI therapy is coming, and it's already here, to be honest. Do you think that would have been sufficient? A non-human, but sounds like a human, would you have felt heard, listened to?
Would that be helpful?
Yeah, would you personally, might you have found that helpful? And there's not a right or wrong answer. I'm just curious.
I would not prefer that, actually. I would want somebody to understand me, like, not just on computer or like smartphone. I would want to talk to somebody somewhere, anywhere, like on a restaurant, I don't know. But somebody to talk to, and with expressions, with their response, with their voices, with their comfort. So, no.
I think that's probably true for many of us. I would say we would all feel that. So something else I wanted to talk about was trauma therapy in Japan. So it was a year after you experienced this before you finally were able to begin this process, it feels like. So I'm curious as to whether or not you think that, apart from family and friends, are there other resources? Do you believe that Japanese society is beginning to talk about things that it may not have and beginning to develop more resources? In that year of time, did you find anything like that?
Some support from
from any sort of Japanese mental health services, essentially?
Not really, actually, because I've seen that trauma therapy on hospitals is not really common. You can't really find it, even though there are hospitals. And I think that is one thing that the country should focus on, because, like, I felt that this, the sexual crime that I had was not really important for police people. They were like, okay, it's okay, you can just go. So I felt like those kind of importance of trauma, or like something that will become trauma, isn't really not really important in Japan right now, I think.
Yeah, your particular method is very much focused on the individual, and it's great. It sounds like a great tool that obviously helped you. I wonder if you can imagine what tools, system tools, what structures, government or within schools, you think would be very helpful and that you would like to see happen.
I would I would like to see if I want the police, if I had the same thing again, if I call 110 and the police came, I would love them to listen to me or give me advice, introduce some counselors, hospitals, and listen to me and try to understand me so that it won't become my trauma. But they don't do so now. So I hope that they would, make the victims comfort and know that they're not alone. And I hope that it would happen in Japan.
I think those are very reasonable hopes and dreams. I do hope they happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Confer. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Sasayama, Mr. Confer, and Risa Hirooka.